Hello and welcome back to the Blend podcast. In today's episode, I'm once again joined by Dean Lomas, who's gearing up for his return session at the Blend on October the 18th in Birmingham. Since we last spoke on the podcast, Dean and his wife Sam have expanded the business and brought a whole new wave of young people into the industry. So we thought it time to get him back on for a bit of a catch-up. Dean, great to have you here. How's things?
I'm fantastic this morning. Woke up early, took the dogs for a walk, and we just thrown a gearbox in a pickup because it's my day off.
Yeah, never a day off, Dean. Never a day off.
No, never a day. No.
Great to hear that you're speaking at the Blend again this year. What have you got in store for us?
So it's going to be a bit of a mixed bag, really. What it was going to be is about when my friend behind me, there he is, Matt Jeffries, and I did our presentation last year. Our last slide was the next 12 months. So it's going to be a mismatch of the last 12 months of how my business has changed and how it's grown, and a couple of difficult situations I've been in. A little bit about cash flow, because cash flow has been challenging. It really has. We're having our 10th ramp put in this weekend, and people are struggling in the industry, and I want to let them know that they're not on their own. And that's what my presentation's really about, is we've all been there, we're all doing it, and we're all in the same boat. So let's stick together, hold hands, and just support each other. And that's really most of it. And then a big chunk on apprenticeships.
Yeah, your talk is called The Roller Coaster of 2024 and 2025. It gives the impression of obviously business ups and downs, but I wanted to ask, is that not a normal journey for a garage business?
I think it is if you gradually follow the path of, I've got 4 ramps, I'm going to continue with this 4 ramps and my staff, and I might buy a couple of more other tools. But mine has been, right, well, we've just got the building. We've just ploughed in every single bit of cash flow we've had into the business. Then once that's gone, you've got to build. The business keeps on growing. We can't let the quality subside whatsoever. So we need to find a solution. So I've had to knock a building down to get more ramps in, etc. So it's, as well as trying to grow the business, look after the customers, have a staff issue, and I don't think I would have had these problems if I would have stuck at the size I was. And it's the challenges with expansion. It really is. It's a whole new next level.
What was the deciding factor for you when you decided to go down that expansion route?
There wasn't really a decision to be made. I was forced into it, I'll say. So with our capacity, what we had, as a garage, our main product we sell is hours. We can only sell a certain amount of hours because we're restricted by ramps. So I needed more ramps. The work was backlogging up, so we were booking 2 to 3 weeks in advance. So if the work's backlogging up, that means there's a workload to be done. So the next thing you do is you have to find a building. Well, it's 100,000 plus just to move equipment or buy new equipment in a different location. So if you're going to buy £100,000 worth of equipment, do you just get the building next door what's come up for lease? And I had to take it. And although it's extortionate, the cost of it, and then the rates that you have to pay on it, and then to make it fundamental, I started up a new business, brought Cheshire EV into it, because it runs differently than DC Lomas. Cheshire EV, it caters more for the electric vehicle sector that's around there, and now it's catering for fleet. So I was forced into it, and one of the guys who worked in the building at the time, he came to me and says, we're moving. And then that gave me the opportunity to say, I've got to have it. I was forced to have it because of our success.
Knowing what you now know in terms of those challenges that you've mentioned, would you still go ahead with that expansion if you were to go back in time?
In a way, I'd say no, because the cash flow and the net profit on 4 ramps was exceptional. And it brought some really good, fruitful times. So that side of it, no. But there was customers that weren't being catered for. So I've had that. And then on the other side of it is that I just had no choice. I had to grow. And now we're the biggest independent garage around within a 15-mile radius.
What's the tipping point where the workload goes from being good busy to just unsustainable?
You see the staff's morale go down. That was part of it. What my role used to be was I used to take over if a member of staff was on holiday. So we had 4 full-time mechanics, we had 1 full-time apprentice, and we had 2 front of house. And that was every time someone had a holiday, I take over their role. So the MOT tester went on holiday, I did MOTs for a week. The diag tech went on holiday, I did diags for a week. The service tech went on holiday, and I've not had structure. I've not had routine, and I've been chaos. That my life was bedlam in that area, and because of the workload, everyone was exhausted. And you can't push people, your friends, because they have to be your friends in this industry, because you can't just have a work colleague or a number. So my work friends who I spend all my time with, they were getting upset because they were broken. So we had to grow. We had to get more people. We had to get more routes. There wasn't much of a choice.
Any advice for other garage owners that might be considering their expansion options?
Put your prices up. Put your prices up 10% today.
So don't wait for the move or expansion to happen then?
No, don't wait for anything. Put your prices up 10% today, then your cash flow's there for when you do it. That's what I didn't do. If I'd have put my cash flow, because I had to wait 9 months for the building to become vacant. So if I was put my prices up 10%, I'd have had another £90,000 spare in cash flow.
Yeah, and that would have gone a long way to help, I imagine.
Would have paid for the ramps, paid for the electricians, paid for the solar panels. It would have paid for the wiring network for the classroom. It would have paid for everything. And it would have also given me the year's rent as well.
At what point do you think it will start to settle down and those cash flow headaches start to ease for you?
I've sat and done my figures. We had me and Samantha had a meeting yesterday, and I've sat and worked my numbers out. And it's going to be between another 12 and 18 months from today, or from yesterday. So we're talking from August till Christmas 26, and we'll be flying then. We'll be above and beyond of our own conception of what it was always going to be. But I've done this from the start. So when I started the business in 2011, I worked out that I was too busy. So that's when I first had the apprentice. And then as I went busier and busier, and I was forced to get the unit. And as I got busier at that, I was forced to get more ramps in the unit. And I was forced to do that. I was getting front of house and forced to get a diag tech and forced to get a tester and what was the question?
How long before those business pressures from the expansion ease for you?
Yeah. So I reckon Christmas 26, we're going to not only have an abundance of cash flow, but I've done the calculations of net profit at the moment and the calculations for the past 12 months, and it works out that we should have a more than enough extra for when my next crazy idea comes along.
It's a case of short-term pain for long-term gain, isn't it? Because had you not have jumped at the chance of taking the building next door, that opportunity may not have presented itself to you again for another 10 years, if at all. So that's the opportunity that you would have been risking.
And that's what I mean. Then I'd have to move. And then it's a minimum of £100,000 to get a building. to rent a building and get the equipment. Because you don't just look at the building on the outside. Is the floor good enough? Is the circuit boards okay? Is the plumbing okay? Is it in the correct area and got enough parking? Is the whole big picture? Do you buy someone's existing business who's retiring? You know, this is where do you move forward? And as I say, I was forced into it, and luckily I'm crazy enough to do this kind of thing without too much hassle, I'd say, because no one's been disrupted. It's just got easier for the staff. Our master tech, who does all the diag, he gets 6 diags a day, and he's happy doing whatever he does in his corner. And we've got him all the equipment. But when he's got 8 or 9 diags a day, if anything has to go over and he's booked for 3 weeks, I can't sat in the car park for 3. You see the process of, we're just forced, and it's a shame that, in a way, it's a shame that we're so good and love it so much. Because if we didn't, we wouldn't have to grow, and I wouldn't put myself in this situation.
We last had you on the Blend podcast at the start of 2024. I actually think you may have been one of the first guests on the Blend podcast. And we spoke at length at that time about apprenticeships, as you also did at the Blend last year. So talk us through what's happened since then on the apprenticeship front.
So what I've done this year is every 10 to 12 weeks, I've had a young person from college doing the 100 hours experience. This is unpaid, so they come like once every Tuesday or once every Thursday or whatever day a week it is. And that's for 100 hours, so that's 10, 12 days. I found my new apprentice from that. So from last year, I already had Cade, who was a level 2. He's just passed his level 3 through LKQ Academy. So he's now a fully qualified mechanic. And he's 19 and he's doing timing chains on Range Rovers and the like. He's building engines. A 19-year-old. He's exceptional. He's been with us since he was 16-year-old, so he's done 3 years with us for a full apprenticeship. I took him out of college and I put him through the LKQ Academy because of his educational needs. So he's understanding that every apprentice is different as well. I've got Alfie, who's turning 18 this month. He's turning 18. He's been with us 18 months now. And we've put him on a hybrid role. So his hybrid role is working with, he was my apprentice, but we can't work together. We've understood that. His concentration and my concentration means that we don't work. So I'll go start a job and tell him what to do, but then I'll wander off and do what I have to do, and then he's wandering around doing something else, and the job don't get done. So he's now with a master tech. And every Wednesday, he's in the front of house while our service manager is doing the SLPs and stuff like that. And he's in so the service manager can get more functional within the business, taking my role off me and relieving the pressure off me. So the apprentice is doing a hybrid role in that department. So he'll be coming up to his 2 years soon, and he's going back to college in September. And then my new apprentice is one of these what came in on a day release on a work placement, and he's very polite, he's very tidy, he's 6'3". So me and him working together, we've just put a gearbox in and pick up there, and he's bent. He might as well be on his knees, you know. There's no, he doesn't. It's like me stood there, so we're working, you know.
You've seen a lot of success by bringing apprentices through into the industry, helping them develop and getting them to stay. But what is the secret? How do you get them to stay in your business?
I just tell them the truth. As soon as they come in, I tell them I'm not the parent, I'm not the teacher, and this is real world. And so with that, they understand straight away. There's no messing. We've got to do this. And I teach them about life. I don't just go, hi, turn a spanner, and this is how tight you tighten, and you got to talk into that thing. You know, the new apprentice I've just took on, young Rossi, who's my new one. He's I told him half of his wages go into a savings account, and by the time he's 31, if he continues to put his wage in, and I calculated that for him, I said by the time you're 31 and your compound interest, you'll have over £1 million in your bank, and that's if you save half your wages. And so I'm not just teaching them to be mechanics. I'm talking to them about drug and alcohol abuse out there. So if they're going out and they're talking to me about going out on a Friday, and then I can explain to them about the situations that they can get into, so they've got the full picture of, and they can make their own choices then. Because I say to them, obviously, you're going out this weekend, fine, great. If you're going out, make sure you're back home by Sunday morning, because then you can get a rest Sunday, so you're not wrecked on a Monday. Not that in that respect, but make sure that they're ready for work, because they're going to spend, as they say, you got 3 parts of your day, haven't you? You got your work, your rest, and your play. So if they spend too much time playing, they're going to ruin the work or the rest. And if they spend too much time working, they're going to ruin the playtime and they're going to ruin the rest. So you've got to get a good even balance. And this is what I do with all my apprentices. I teach them about life. If they've got an emotional problem, we try and work through it. And we've got some good people here who will talk through situations, who have been in different areas of their lives. And we guide them through. We're not just mechanics who teach you the job. We're a structure.
What have you learnt from your apprentices?
Patience. Only a little tiny bit though. I still blow my top and go, what the fuck are you doing? Right. So, patience as well. It's a good thing. The amount of times that I go to my drawers and my tools are in the wrong drawers, and they've been in them drawers for 25, 30 years, and they've been exactly there, and they've moved, and it's like, oh, you could go home.
Now imagine this, Dean, if you were put in charge of the apprenticeship system in the UK, what would be your first change that you would make?
The way that students aren't allowed to go to college if they haven't got a qualification of maths and English is appalling. It's absolutely disgusting that I'm 45-year-old and I still detest reading because I find it a challenge. I can read now, but will you send me a letter? I ain't going to read it. You send me an email, I'm not going to read it because it's such a challenge. It would be like saying, I'd rather run up Snowdon in a pair of flip-flops.
Funny you should say that. There is always the Blend charity walk, coincidentally up Snowdon in just a few weeks' time.
Yeah, I know, but I'd probably do it in flip-flops as well because I'm stupid. Tell me you'll give me 20 quid and I'll do it. Well, no, don't. But, yeah, the educational system is broken. Yes, you do need to be able to read and write, but we've worked around that. We have students. So since Christmas, we're on month 8. We've had over 20 young people attend the garage for work experience. This is either through school or whether it's through further education. But these are challenged, educationally challenged, socially challenged people, and they come into the business. One of them, he was able to make a cup of tea, so he'd come and make you a cup of tea. And I'm like, have you made everyone else one? No, I'll go and do that now. And it'd take him an hour and a half to make everyone a cup of tea, and he was so happy just doing that. Then half an hour later, he'd have to start again. You know that. So we're bringing young people in who fundamentally are capable of learning and doing a physical job, who are not allowed because the educational system says they're not.
When we're talking about bringing young people into the industry, we tend to think about apprenticeships, but are there any other routes to get them in? Yeah,
without a doubt. As I say, I took my level 3 or my newly qualified one out of college because he's not academic. He's like me. You give him a piece of paper, he's not going to read it. He can read talk settings, and he can read Haynes Pro through and through, and he can read all data, and he can see the pictures, and he can understand that side of it. But some have to be removed from college because the setting isn't right. And plus, in the last 12 months, I've had 2 people come to me for employment, and these 2 people, they were qualified, level 3, unable to do a set of brake pads. Never mind know the routine of a service inspection. And the quality that the colleges are delivering people out to the wide world is not good enough. It needs to be a 4-year apprenticeship. They need 2 years education and 2 years experience, full-time experience, with maybe a day release to college to get the paperwork side done. So when they go in every Tuesday, the tutors should go to them and go, where's your paperwork for this week? I want to see your job sheets for this week. Have they been signed? If they've not been signed and you've not got your paperwork, go back to work and get your job sheets. And if I was in charge of the educational system, it would be brutal. It would be everyone there early, everyone do half an hour exercise, walking around a yard or whatever, because they need the blood pumping round to stimulate the brain. Once the brain's stimulated, they can sit in the classroom and it can be delivered what they need to be delivered. But if there's no kind of reprimanding, there's no kind of accountability, and they're just giving qualifications at the end because the college teachers, I believe, are doing half the work for them.
Yes, and you can't help but fear that some, and I must say some, because we know there are some excellent colleges out there doing amazing things for the next generation, but given some of the talent that's getting through into the independent sector, it does seem as though the education system is sometimes treated as a treadmill. Get them in, get the certificates, get them back out again.
Mike, if you'd seen some of the quality what's being delivered from them colleges, you wouldn't even want your car fixed. And this is why I built the training centre, to ask people to come in, like Padgett and Varta and everyone, Schaeffler. You know, I've invited people to come in to deliver training to them as staff because I want them to be exceptional. And unfortunately, they're leaving college with literally a piece of paper which is worth nothing.
You've been very open about overcoming your own challenges. Again, we've spoken about this at length on the Blend podcast. For anyone listening that missed out on that episode, go back and give it a listen. It's well worth your time. Dean, how have your personal struggles shaped how you lead your team? Because I think it's fair to say your approach to mentoring these young people is somewhat unique.
Well, that's the thing. It's worked for me. And now I've adapted to other people's needs or other people's challenges. That's where I believe that I'm like Marmite. You either love me or you hate me. I'm not like Marmite because that's pretty gross. But, so with the young people, actually any technician, I like to work out the personality because I'm not employing someone to turn spanners. I'm employing someone who can work together with me and who can fit in with my team. If someone comes in and they are phenomenal and the best in the trade at doing the job, but they didn't have the right attitude towards everyone else, they're not for us. I'd rather have someone who we can train up and become to be very good and have the right attitude than someone who's exceptional with a wrong attitude. And it's working out each individual person what comes to us. And you see, from that angle, I love working with people, and we've all got to be happy. So that's where I think my personality shines best.
Dean, thanks so much for joining us. It's been great fun as always, and I hope to see you again soon.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Blend podcast. Be sure to subscribe on your usual podcast player if you're not already. And if you know anyone who may benefit from the podcast, please recommend it to them. Don't forget you can catch Dean at the Blend on October the 18th in Birmingham. There's a limited number of tickets still available, but be warned, they do tend to sell out. We'll be back on the podcast with another episode very soon. Until then, bye for now.